Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Abroad Show, Monday night, 22nd of November. And I think I speak for everyone when I say today was a bit of a different day because preseason began. And we've got a very special show to coincide with a very special day one of preseason. I've got a couple of special guests tonight. I talk a lot about the young'uns, the young adults coming through who contribute on the channel, whether it be on the website or just coming on fan cams. And so tonight you're going to meet them all again. And we're going to have a bit of a chat with that next generation of Carlton fan and give them some light. So first and foremost, we've got Nathan Sepe. I'm going to say that once and once only. What's going on, bro?
I'm not too bad. How are you, Tez?
No, I'm good. I don't know about you, but I was drunk on Carlton content today. It just came flocking, didn't it?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, it's the one day of the year where you absolutely just have so much optimism and you don't really know what to do with it. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to play a brand new intro that Willem made. You're going to speak and meet Willem shortly throughout the show, and then. Yeah, we're gonna share some really special news. So new intro. Let's see how it goes. Let us know what you think.
Hey, I seen it all before. I heard chat that they all adore. 1 week looking like they all aboard. Next day they don't even walk the walk. I've been here since the bust down Aqua, cutting through Asda, all black master. Now I'm too grown for acting gaffer, trying to pay off my Madre's gaff cut. Took the whites and there's a rotty that's peak. Add the spice to calamari, that's me. My advice off the order I seen. Christ alone, he don't promise you. Don't say that. You know that man don't pay that.
All right, there it is. I've promised we're going to keep the old intro just in case people want to hear it. But there we go. Nathan, what's happening in your world, mate? Because talk to us about what's actually happened in your life.
Well, I mean, at the end of last year, I started my own page. It's called the Carlton Wrap. Obviously, in the future, my sort of area I want to go into is that sort of sports media journalism. So I thought I'll start the page, obviously being a lifetime Carlton supporter. So I thought the best way to start was with what I'm best at, which is obviously the club. Spent my whole life just, fantasizing about everything and just sort of staying up to date with everything that's going on with the club. This year I completed year 12. So now I finished that, which is fantastic because it was one of the worst years possible. So now I'm looking to sort of expand my page. I've just recently started a podcast and I've also doing some writing on the club and also some different other sports at the moment.
Yeah. So we chatted a little earlier today and the pathways for you guys, like you've just finished high school, the pathways for sports media are really interesting now because we're in a totally different era. Like when I finished high school, it was 2008. There wasn't the internet, social media was here, but such platforms, especially for the AFL, they weren't really there. They weren't really around to showcase your work. You could technically have a website and build it, but I don't think there was like that total mass adoption from people. So what are you noticing about, you're looking for experience and whatnot? Is that hard to find or is it a little easier these days?
It still is hard to find. I think you still have to go through that process of if you know someone, it's much easier. The one thing I sort of feel at the moment is I don't actually know what it's going to be like in the next 4 or 5 years. I think it's very dynamic, always constantly changing that sort of like media environment. So I'm actually not sure what I'm like working towards, if that makes any sense. There's things you can do along the way, but ultimately I actually don't know where I want to end up.
Yeah. I think the impressive part for me about you is you're doing, like, yeah, you said you don't know, not sure where the opportunities are, but the opportunity to write or talk into a microphone or, on camera, it's there. So I think the best advice I would ever give is just start, talk about what you love, talk about what it is, and then just refine from there. So it's been pretty cool to see you. I mean, last year you did a lot of writing. Now you're moving into the audio/visual game. So it's exciting. What's the channel called for us playing along at home?
So my channel is called the Carlton Wrap. If you sort of look that up anywhere, you should be able to find it. Most of the socials are called the Carlton Wrap. On there, post sort of just a lot of links to my work, a lot of different, content related to the club that's going on, just so you can see my work, what I like to write about, what I like to analyze, and just sort of get a bit of a insight to the younger generation who have experienced the club in a different way through our upbringing.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think it's very important. I mean, like for me, I was talking about it today with somebody else. I mean, like there's an interesting connection between, like, I'm 30, you're 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 12 years difference, but we have this shared pain and this shared experience of not a lot. Like I don't really remember 95, 99 kind of, but haven't really been living with, full memory with, the good times yet. So hopefully, and I think Sam Walsh touched on it today as well. Like there's, the group are now, they've been together for a couple of years for the most part, and they've experienced that shared pain. So in a way it connects us, but maybe you can elaborate a bit on what's your experience. You are obviously a next generation supporter, depending on who's saying that, but what's your experience?
Well, the first sort of memories I can remember properly was probably back to about 2010, 11. I do remember a little bit from 2009. The first game I went to was Carlton Richmond, which was that game where Fev kicked that goal behind his head. That's sort of my first memory of like the club. I got to go on the ground that day, all those sort of things. I mean, obviously I was young and I do remember good bits and pieces, but otherwise, I mean, I've experienced that 2010, 11, 13 final where I can vaguely remember some. 13, I went to that. That was, that's got to be the top game I've went to in terms of crowd. But I feel like for me, there was sort of a gap between 2014 and like 17. I still would watch every game, still go, but I don't remember any of it. It's really weird. I feel like I've sort of forgotten that. I think you come so accustomed to losing that you just automatically forget that. But now sort of that I've grown up, I understand the game like very, very well now. Just tactically, you sort of see it's better because I can see where the club's actually heading. When you're that young, you just see win or a loss, and that's it. You don't really see what direction. But no, it's growing up. You sort of, I don't have a lot of hope, if I'm completely honest. I go into every season and never have a lot of optimism. I like apart from maybe a couple times in the past, but I never have that optimism that a lot of other supporters have. I'm very sort of set on what I want to see in order for growth to happen, just from what I've seen with other sports. But like truthfully, I want finals this year, but I don't want to expect it. Don't want to let myself down in the end.
No, I feel you. You're protecting yourself. I mean, there's something you said which resonates. I'm with you. I mean, 2002, 3, 4, and even 5, I don't really remember because they were bad losses, and as you're growing up, and it doesn't matter whether you're a teenager or even a fully fledged adult, you try and forget the bad losses and the losses because they don't mean anything. They just mean we're still not there where we want to be. We're not enjoying the experiences like we want to be, and I think that's why 2018 was so hard because it was 2 wins. Yeah. It was hard to really remember what happened even back then, apart from like the really bad stingy losses. So anyway, that's the past. This is the present. Today we had, the boys returned to preseason. You would have seen the content and whatnot. What are you feeling about the upcoming season? I know you said you don't want to get too excited and put expectations, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm sure a lot of other people are. It's great. I mean, I said to you earlier, it feels more like a reset than a rebuild. I think the club, the core players are still there. I think they all still have the same goal, obviously. Like I said, I don't really like feeding too much into it. I'm more of a want to see it rather than hear it. And I mean, it's good to hear it also. It's never bad to hear what's going on, but also in the past, yet again, like you hear so much crap and it never actually translates. So that's why I don't feed into it. I just leave it. I was like, yep, cool. They're on the right track, sure. But I want to see that come round 1, or else I don't, or else nothing you said matters.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do get sucked in. There's no doubt. It's just more from a place of I want something to get behind. I don't want to live in the Because at the moment, we're currently one of those teams where it's like, if X happens, then we'll be good. Or if so-and-so kicks X goals, then we'll be good. Or if so-and-so can cement his spot or her spot, then we'll be good. I'm looking forward to the time where we can talk about him and kind of know what we're going to get.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just want round one to come. I just want to see what happens if if what they've been saying is completely off the mark, or, they're actually on the right track. But I do feel a bit different saying that. It does seem a little different just from what I've seen in all different sports. This does seem a little different in the transition they're actually making. But, it's great. I mean, obviously, physiologically, they do look bigger, they look better. But also my other part of it is psychologically. Obviously, in the past, they've given up so many leads. They don't have that mental edge over a lot of other teams. A lot of other teams still come and think, yep, easy 4 points, off we go. So still a lot of time to build on that. But yeah, I mean, overall excited.
Yep. Who's a player, before I let you go, who is like the player you think will come back or thrive in 2022? Who's the one we know who the stars, I think, are. Who's someone that maybe is a little underrated or hasn't had a good year this year that you think can rise in 2022?
I'll say this to everyone: is Will Setterfield. I love him as a player. He's very nifty and he does perform very consistently. He might have the odd game, once in a while, but like ultimately he does perform consistently. He has that, like the younger generation, they have this sort of niftiness to get around the ball and just sort of read the play very well. So I'm hoping him, Matt Kennedy, all these sort of, outside midfield players with the, contribution of Chera and Hewitt, I think they can actually build a very consistent role in the midfield to perform.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, it was only, 2020, 2 seasons ago, he was the most improved player in the group. Obviously, I think maybe, Zach Williams coming last year, taking that midfield spot, pushing Setterfield out to the wing, probably just didn't suit him, the adjustment. Then he had the groin issues or just injury issues. And then injury becomes confidence. Confidence becomes, whatever it was. But yeah, I'm with you. Progression's never linear. It's always up and down, especially in the early stages, unless you're Sam Walsh, where it just, the hard work just keeps paying off. But I'm keen to see what happens. It'd be really good for the group if he can emerge again.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, mate, good luck with the Carlton Wrap. Appreciate your time tonight. And we'll chat soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Tez.
See you, mate. Kira.
Hey, Tez. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Yeah, really good. I'm up and about after the photos we saw today. I'm ready for round one.
I know, right?
I'm probably the completely opposite. I get way too sucked in. I have way too much hope, and I get really excited over one photo. So, the club may destroy me, but ride it. I'm very
absolutely. You should never lose that. Especially, I mean, you just finished year 12 as well, so you're at that point where it's all fresh for you. This is the time to absolutely be drinking the Kool-Aid before it wears off.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's an exciting time to be a bagger. Just have hope, and hopefully the hope pays off.
Of course. So talk to us. Year 12's finished. A COVID year 11 and year 12. What's your modus operandi? What do you want to do? What's your dreams for the sports world?
Yeah, so I also want to go into media. I'm hoping to be a news and sports presenter. So imagine Jackie Felgate does the news, does the sport. So that's my goal, my dream. Hopefully uni, and then we'll see where that takes me, and then who knows from there.
Love it. The world is your oyster, I say. That's how it works, especially with the internet and what it can do for anyone, really. So really keen to see what happens there. Now, let's talk about preseason for a second, because a lot was said. You've come on here for, a few weeks on the fan cams, and you've spoken about there's a different sound to it, different energy to it. But, once you saw what you saw today and what you heard from today, what was your takeaway?
Just that it's different. And, I don't know why. I think it's mainly a vibe, but I think even when Voss was talking today and he said, you know, be uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, but it was different to when Bolton was saying it. He wasn't talking about the physicality. He wasn't talking about, like he said, I'm not talking about run a 10-kilometer time trial instead of a 2. I'm talking about mental. It's mental. You've got to push yourself harder. If you think you're done, go further. I just think that the mental edge is going to get there. I think Cook is so straightforward, so straight to the point. There's no garbage. There's no selling anything. He wants what he wants, and he's going to get what he wants because he won't put up with anything other than that. I just think that there's a really different vibe, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving it.
I'm going to get some quotes, actually, that you just reminded me. He said a few interesting quotes today, which I saw on the Up the Baggers Twitter page, which, by the way, is a great resource for fans if you're on Twitter. Basically, this Twitter page aggregates every quote, every bit of news from the mainstream into one Twitter feed. So please go and show some support. It's at Up the Baggers. Now, Kira, you know what we're like. You know, we're talking about finals, expecting it. It's year 6 of the rebuild. Now it's year 7. Like we've got that expectation. And Cook was asked about that, and he said it's an issue that's going to need some management. Easy way for me to answer that is to say if we win a couple of games early, we'll be okay. The other scenario is if we lose a couple of games early, what happens? The members are on this threshold of intolerance. My perception, there's a good feeling around the place with the changes we've made with our member and supporter base. They want to change, and they are getting some. That'll give us some space. But having said that, we have to improve, show a step up in competitiveness over long periods. And then finally, more than anything, supporters, if they see we're honest and having a real crack, we'll be okay. They'll give us some time. What they won't accept, and neither will we, is anywhere in our football club a lack of effort or intensity or due diligence. We have to be at our best. So it's a good talking point. Because, I mean, it's not what we want to hear. We want to hear, we're playing finals. It's finals or bust, and this is it. But Brian Cook, ever since he's come to the club, he's basically probably walked in and said, first of all, no one is entitled to play finals just because they're 6 or 7 years into the rebuild. And what's your take on that? Like, if we don't play finals, but we do play, a brand of footy that's, something you can be proud of, would that be enough for you?
I think so. And I think there has to be a level of truth throughout the whole year. I think, too many times last year, even the boys got carried away saying we were going to make finals and that was, where we we're going. But I think at the end of the day, we want sustained success. We want to be Richmond. We want what they had. And we don't want one finals win and then to go back into our hole. So we need them to build a sustainable brand of footy. So if that means, as much as it pains me to say, if that means missing out on finals this year to then have a long road of finals and grand finals in the years to come, then I think I'll be okay with that, because I think in 5 years' time, if we're better off than one finals win, then it will be okay. So I think as long as they hold their truth and that they keep themselves accountable, then I think we'll be all right. What's your take?
I think at the end of the day, I want to leave, season 2022 looking back and saying, and just being proud. Yeah. I think that was the big sticky point for me this year. I didn't leave the season proud of what I watched. And I think most of the battle is just putting on a season for the fans and for the club that we can watch and feel, oh, we're going in the right direction, or, oh, wow, we're really improving, or, wow, there's something to work with here. And I think it was a shame that we didn't feel that. I don't know about you. I didn't feel that this year. I kind of left this year thinking, like, what's going on? Like, we probably should be better than what we are right now. And by virtue of the fact that, they're not young draftees getting belted by 100 points like they were in 2018 and whatnot. So I still have finals as the benchmark for whether it's a successful season or not for 2022. And I think it also stems from whenever I feel like we have a list to play finals that's capable of doing it, that's where I expect it to happen, because it can be done. And if it can be done, it should be done.
Yeah, 100%. And I think reflecting on 2021, I think it's also because we always end the year so poorly. And, I'm a dancer, and we always get told, no matter how much you stuff up in the dance, make sure the final pose is good because that's what the audience will remember. And when we reflect on the year, we're always going to remember the last few rounds, and we always drop off in the last few rounds and just turn to. So I think that's also why we always leave with a sour taste in our mouth. So finals, please, but if it's not finals, can you at least give us something to go into the off season feeling proud and not like, what did we just watch for the past 4 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that 21 ended, the last 2 games, it was just, there's a car crash, there's a car crash waiting to happen. I just don't like it. Reminded me, the last 2 games reminded me of 2018, where it was like, oh, well, I hope we have a good quarter. Hope we can keep up with them for a half,
Yeah, 100%.
So what about you in terms of which is the player to watch coming from you? Who are you most excited to see step it up?
I'm going to go with a really weird one, but I really like what I saw from Parks for the few games that he played, and I really liked it. And I think if we, nourish him and give him the right resources around him, I think he can really, really flourish into a really good player. Obviously, he's not going to be, consistent every week, but I think he's one to watch. I think he will, he'll do stuff for us that's good, and that we will talk about it on fan cams afterwards saying, yeah, he did well tonight. So I think Parks is one to watch. And then I think I really don't want to put pressure on him, and we'll probably say it every year until it happens, but Cripper was looking fit. He was looking fit today, and I think he'll want to prove people wrong. He'll want to prove people that the last 2 years weren't the Patrick Cripps that we all know he is, and he won't like what he put out in the last 2 years. So I think that he'll also hopefully be back to his best, whatever his best looks like in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, it would help if he doesn't have a fractured back to start the season and all of that. That's really the hope. And I mean, I obviously I don't know him. None of us really know him, but he strikes me as someone, he would be even more harsh on himself as what the critics were. I have no doubt that he's got that self, determination about him and that pride, and, he's committed. There's no doubt about that. Like, there was a little bit of I'm not sure if anyone was really worried that he'd be leaving last year before he signed, but he's made the commitment. He's in here for the long haul, and he sees what's about to bubble, what we think is about to bubble. So I like it. If he's at his best, along with Walsh and Harry and Jacob from, continuing their form from 21, we're in good hands.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And injuries, just please be nice to us, please.
I know. A little bit of good luck would be great.
Yeah, especially for our backline. Our backline needs a lot of good luck.
I know. It seems like every year there's like a season-ending injury day one of preseason. So we got through unscathed today, touch wood. Let's hope for another good day tomorrow.
Fingers crossed.
Love it. Love your work, Kira. We'll speak soon.
Thank you.
See ya. Willem.
Tez, how are we?
Mate, we're good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm ready to drop some amazing news.
You're ready? We're going to drop some news in a moment. Before we do that, I want to talk a bit about what's happening in your world.
I just finished exams. I've gotten back on the grind. So back on the Blue Abroad grind. I took a little break. Had to get my exams done and get all them smashed out, which I did. And now it's back on the editing. So everyone will be seeing all the videos come out soon, working on all the intros. But yeah, it's going to be a very good 2022 season for us.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, preseason's always fun. Preseason's always that time for hope. As the days go on, the guard that I've put up will slowly get chipped away at, and then before we know it, it's going to be disgusting. I'm just pouring the Kool-Aid about.
Oh, no. See, I'm like Kira. It's the Kool-Aid's already out. It's just I got photos of them today, and I had this moment in the car, and I was playing the Carlton theme song, and I was like, what if I was driving to the MCG to watch us in a grand final? Like, what if that was what I was doing, and I was in the car, and I grabbed a beer, and I was sitting there, and I was like, we're in a grand final, and I was like, is that far away? I don't know. Who knows? But let's bloody hope that that's around the corner. 'Cause
Yeah, I
we
know.
we bloody deserve it. We do. The
We do.
fans do. And
We
all
do.
we need to show is that the players do too.
Yeah. I did the video last week of my top 5, favorite moments or best moments as a fan. And the last time I can remember watching the group and honestly saying we're a good team to the point where if you said it to an opposition supporter, they would agree with you. The last time I believe that was the case was 2011. 2012, it derailed, injuries and whatnot. 2013, we weren't a bad team. I wouldn't say we were a good team. We sort of slipped into finals on a technicality, but it's been a decade since we've been able to say we're on the rise, we're a good team.
Jesus, you're dropping the truth bombs. Yeah, you're right. It's been a decade, 10 years until you can have a conversation with someone and say, wow, then say a player who's good and not just say, oh, Sam Walsh, he's pretty good. He does amazing things. And yeah, I don't know about the other ones, but we want to be a solid squad. But we are Carlton Football Club. Like, come on.
Hey, mate, preach.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. Everyone's asking for it. It's time. Now,
all right.
It's time. We're going to drop the news. I promise you guys, this is actual big news. It's historical news. It's the first of its kind in the history of the league type news. And Willem has made a clip about it. So this Thursday night, we're going to have a very special show. I'm going to play this clip for you, and it might make a little bit more sense.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
That's great.
That's
great.
Massive. It's going to be
massive.
huge on Thursday. It is going to be huge.
Yes. So the Prez is coming on for a special show on Thursday night to meet us all and chat with us all live here. I'm going to chat with him. It's going to start at 7:30 p.m. We've got him for half an hour. And like I said, he's the first president to ever appear on a fan channel. It's humbling to start with, and it's special. It's new.
Definitely, it's one of a kind. You never ever have a connection like that with a president. They're in the top office. They'll never see them, and you get to see them when you watch the TV. Sometimes if the club gets in trouble, but this is a one of a kind of show. You just can't miss it. It's just going to be huge.
It is. It's exciting. I mean, we don't want to make too big a deal of it because we hope to have him on again. But I think when it's because we talk about being reactive as opposed to proactive. I think this is a sign, another sign in the step in the right direction to connecting with that modern audience.
Yeah, I think it's huge by him. I mean, never would you think that he reached out, and that's huge. Like, to show the fans that he wants a connection, even just go out on a fan channel and make it not so formal is huge, and it shows what kind of person he is and what kind of connection he wants with his fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So appreciate the little video you made there. That gave me goosebumps when you sent that through.
No, it was very fun to make.
Yes. And for you, let's talk a bit about 22. What do you What's your observations of what you want to happen, what needs to happen? What are you seeing?
Oh, I think 2022 is going to be huge for us, but what season isn't huge for us? I think coming in, it's all going to be, I think it's been a constant message. Consistency is key. I mean, we can have our games that we just look amazing, and we can have our quarters that we look absolutely incredible. And then we're going to have those drop offs. And I think as a fan base, we'd all be happy if we were just like we had a good base and that base could be held over an entire game and we could see that base. And even if that wasn't extremely amazing and we know the best we can be, if there's a base and we hit that base this season, I think I'm happy. I reckon if we can show that we can hold a game, we can never lose a game, consistency will be key for us this season.
Yeah.
Because when you set that bar, then you can go and then you can really start to build and everything. But the first 10 games, they're all going to be, all right, we've got a base. We're not going to lose the opposition and we're not going to get 5 goals kicked on us in a row. That's just not going to happen. That's not the Carlton way. Let's steady the ship. All right. And this is how we play footy.
Someone was asking me the other day, like, what do you need to see to believe that things have changed? And initially I'm thinking, all right, we're going to beat Richmond. But then I thought about it a bit more, and I think it's more about, I want to see what happens when we have 3 goals in a row kicked on us, because it'll happen. The game is a beautiful game. It ebbs and it flows and it comes and it goes and teams get on a run. But when a team kicks 2 or 3 in a row, I want to see something happen amongst them, whether it's a coaching instruction or just within the group, to make sure we get that next one. And I think that's when it'll start to build some momentum with the trust of, okay, they're actually starting to get it.
Exactly. That is key. It is all about replying, and it's very easy to score another goal once you've scored 1 goal, but it is hard to get yourself out of that hole. And psychologically, if we see the players do that, it's just huge for everyone involved in the club. It'll be huge.
Yeah. I'm excited. It's very early, man. It's day 1 of
very early. Very early. We're a little bit too excited, but can you blame us? No.
Yeah, I know. We're excited we just want good memories. We want to look back on like a year and say, gee, remember 2022? Like, we haven't had it in so long. So
exactly. You just want a ripper. Want a ripper.
I'm also going to ask you, who's the player you're going to be looking out for to take a big step, have a big year?
I think hasn't been named that much, but I think some eyes need to go on to Zach Williams. And those, I think he needs to be like last year. He was very under the microscope. He was very, what have we done? It's 800 grand down the drain and all that stuff. But I think if he can put together a good training, he still has a lot to prove, I think. And I reckon it's really important that we keep our eyes on him. And just, I will track him like a hawk the entire season, because I still think that's really important. And honestly, if he still needs to earn his spot in the starting 22, I think that I reckon he could. I'll just say he could get in there.
I think I think it's spot on. I think when we talk about like Sam Docherty, not sure where he's at. It's real. I mean, they sort of spoke about him today. They mentioned that they'll leave it. They'll be talking with the doctors and letting their recommendations for him take place before they consider playing him and all of those things. And that's why I think it's important for Zach Williams, because first of all, we've recruited him to be a gun player for us, an important player for the team. We've also lost, our starting halfback flanker, who would be Sam Docherty, potentially for maybe the start of the season. We'll see how it plays out. So there's an opportunity for him to fill that void. But also, I reckon it would be a good initiation for him, 2021, just to sort of really see like, oh, okay, this is what it's all about. This is what the pressure of playing for a big team in Melbourne is all about. And I think, I back him in. I do back him in to have a much better year. I think he has so much to offer us. And I don't know, maybe it's a combination of things: fitness, preparation, and then also feeling comfort within himself, within the club. And now he's had a year there. He's familiar with his surroundings, and hopefully, he he can, be the Zach Williams that we were hoping we were going to get.
Exactly, and that's what we want. The Zach Williams we were hoping for.
Yeah. All right, mate. Hey, really appreciate your work, all the videos you create. It's going to be a sad day when we're talking about you and you got your big job somewhere. Someone comes and picks you up, but I look forward to it, mate. All the best, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, chat soon. Cheers, Des.
See you, mate. Helena.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you going?
I'm well. I'm excited. The more I chat to all of you, the more excited I get, to be honest.
Yeah, same watching. It's good to get back into it a bit more.
Yeah.
Seeing the boys out there. It's good.
Yeah. So, Helena, you've written for the website quite a bit this year. Maybe take us through what's going on in your world. What's your interest in the sports world?
Yeah, so I think at the end of 2020, kind of started writing a bit for the AFLW for the Broad website. That kind of turned into the men's season this year as it went on. It's been fun, yeah. So I just enjoy writing and I love the Blues. So thought maybe it could work. Yeah,
it works out well, and that's because I remember when I was in high school, it was still early phase of social media. It was really like Facebook had just hit, Instagram had just, really early days. YouTube was obviously around, but just the landscape's changed so much in a decade. And I remember sort of, you pick your subjects and then you think, oh, what am I going to do with my life? And it's like, all right, well, you pick your favorite subject and maybe do that at uni. And then you've got, 25 to 28 jobs and you kind of pick one and you do that for 40 years and then you retire, then you're done. Whereas now the opportunities are everywhere. If you have something you really love to talk about, whether it be on video, whether it be write about it or whatever, just create for it. There are so many different avenues where you can take that passion.
Yeah, it's such an evolving landscape. Like there's so many opportunities everywhere. It's not really that one path gets you there thing anymore, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So what's your take on the women and the men? I mean, they're both back at preseason. The women are really ramping up. I think also like the club with the media for the women this year, haven't seen them give this much attention to it, which I'm really happy with.
Yeah, the content's been through the roof recently. Like you seem to be getting flooded, which isn't a bad thing. So you get to see, which is good. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. You see clips of the training, you get excited. Don't actually know what the starting date is for the AFLW, but it would be early January, I think. So it's getting closer. Before we know it, it'll be here. I think they've got a bit to sort of maybe make up for from the last year. But it is a bit of a new side for both teams, with boys and girls. So it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, the girls openly spoke about, in all the interviews I've watched, they've openly spoken about, the expectation got to them a little bit last year. They lost their first couple of games, and then all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball. AFLW is a really weird competition. Why I say that is because it's so short. So two losses.
You can't afford a bad start or something because it kind of sets tone for the rest of the season, which isn't that long.
100%. So what do you picture happening for the women this year? Do you think the expectation, do you think it's still there, the same as what it was last year?
Maybe not the same level. We've lost a lot of experience. I think it's almost a refreshed group, lots of new young blood in there. But every year the young talent just gets better and better. So that could also be something on our side, a bit of experience, maybe in like the new gen sort of thing. I'm really excited to see where it takes us. Maybe the expectation won't be as high as it was last year to win the flag or anything like that. But it'll be, I guess, just same as the men, just show us improvement and a good base, what you can actually bring on a consistent basis.
Yeah. What about the men? Let's talk about the men. Who are some of the players you think are going to take that next step? Who you got your eye on?
There's a few of them. If you have a look around the ground, I think Owies, I keep forgetting about him. I tend to forget about him. You forget how much of an impact he did make. There's also TDK. I think he can go to that next level. I think Willow, that's one we tend to forget about. I think he had a good 2020, dropped off this year, so hopefully he finds his feet again because he can be good.
It's funny you mention him because in the draft preview with Pom, he was talking about he's pretty big on Connor McDonald, who's like, we're starting to get through this new wave of like wingmen who are a little bit taller. You got the Nick Coxes, you got the Caleb Poulters at Collingwood. Connor McDonald is kind of that next layer or that next gen of tall wingmen. And then it got me thinking, why can't that be Tom Williamson? Why can't he be that little bit taller wingman? They've spoken about his tank. We know that when he started his career, he had, horrible injury and he missed a lot of football.
Yeah, so bad.
So I'm thinking, why can't he be a potential wingman for us?
Yeah, I agree. He loves to attack and run. We see that off the back line. Sometimes he can get caught out. So I think the wing would be like the perfect place for him to showcase that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that everyone's had a different one. So Willow's the one for you. Anybody else?
I think we're both pretty big fans of him, but Fish, I think he can show something this year.
Yeah.
Hit the straps.
Is he a forward for you, or is he a midfielder for you? Or is he both?
I don't think he's a forward. I think he's a midfield winger. He's got too much to give when he's got the ball to only get it a couple times in the forward 50. So I think the wing, same with Willow, is the perfect position.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. All right, Helena, thank you very much for your contribution, and we'll chat soon.
No worries. See you later.
See ya. All right. Aris Damatakos.
Hello.
How are you, mate?
Not bad, yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited, but I'm ready to be chill about it. I'm not going to lose my head this year.
Yeah, I've been chill since the season ended, pretty much.
Yeah.
I've just kind of, even today, you said that you were like swept up in it. I've just kind of like not really consumed. I've not gone out and consumed anything. I'm just chilling. I'll tell you what, I'm waiting for more bad news to come before I get really angry, and then I'm going to go.
Touch wood, bro. Touch wood. No, this time of year, unfortunately, literally, when I'm thinking about it, if we go back year by year, 2020, 2019, 18, 17. Yeah, 17, it all started with Doc's first knee. And then 18, it was the second knee. 19, it was Charlie. 20, it was still Charlie. I don't know if, this Doc situation is another version of that, or the Liam Jones is another version of that. But we need some good luck. It has to happen at some point.
It's going to happen. I feel like there's been a hard reset happening at the club. I think with all the backroom changes, Voss coming in, I think the shaving of the head for Doc is a very symbolic moment. Like every player did it. That like there's something in that. The luck's going to turn around 100%.
Hope so, man. Hey, talk to us about what's going on in your world. You're, got to say, you're built a little different, mate. I don't know. Is it the Greek warrior in you? You're just hungry.
Yeah, just getting work done. I enjoy it,
Yeah.
so why not?
What's your where's your passion at? What do you want to do?
I don't even know, to be honest. Like I've been obviously writing for the best part of 18 months. It was like early September or August I started writing here. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go down that road or venture off, see where life takes me, roll with the punches, I reckon.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. But what's more important is to have that attitude, but also do in the meantime.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us sometimes get caught up in not being sure, but also not doing anything to make us sure. So, I really appreciate. I think everyone does. Everyone here who reads your work really appreciates your input. So it's going to be cool to see what happens with you over the next few years and who nabs you up, because it's coming.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Let's go back to the group. What will you need to see in order for you to say, okay, things are different?
Well, I mean, on like a really superficial level, if we beat Richmond round one, we're on. I think that's probably when we're first going to see it. That's kind of like a barometer. If we can knock them over, we're back.
Yeah.
So, but I think just maturity. That's something that we've lacked, because we have talent. Like even in 2019 where we won like we're 1-10. We had talent in that team. Like you can't say that our footballing ability, player for player, was terrible. Like there were some players who potentially weren't as good as others, but we had talent. We just weren't mature as a group. We were naive. We were just like decision making at times cost us heavily. So if we can just maturity, I reckon is the key, and not even on field, off field maturity, how they handle themselves in the media is probably where I'm going to be looking for in terms of if we've had that reset that we all think we have.
It's funny because like we all know when we're being spoken to in a way that, like, you know, when you're hearing fluff, you know, when you're hearing the cliches, we're all hanging off every word. We're waiting for someone to say something so we can analyze it, and we'll watch videos twice, 3 times. We'll pick a word out. It's tough. I mean, I don't envy the pressure that they're under, but at the same time, I think, you know, welcome to the world. This is what it is. Carlton Football Club, pressure, history, all of that. It just comes with the caper.
I think this, it's that's the maturity and leadership as well. I think especially with what's happened with Doc and what's happened with Jones, we're a little bit in a mini state of turmoil in terms of the playing group. We've had disruptions, so we need our leadership group and our captains even to really set a goal, be focused, and unite this group. I think if we can tick that off straight away, get that nailed down, then our talent will speak for itself. I think.
Yeah, you make a really good point because, I mean, we lose Murphy, we lose Betts, we lose Casbolt, and you know those are 3 guys that have been around the fabric for a long time. And okay, maybe their on-field performances were not, you know, as good as what they've been in their careers or at their best, but at the same time, like those minds around the club and those voices are crucial because they pass on that information. And so Jones is probably one of those as well. Doc, I guess from an on-field point of view, we're a little bit unsure. Off-field, you know, today he was there at training, so I think that's a big one for them. And that kind of maybe brings me to that point of, you know, are we going to have a little bit of short-term pain for another big, long step forward? I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, we only have one player above 30 on the list. Ed Kerner.
Is that it now? Yeah, wow.
So okay. We've kind of, like, we've gotten younger. As the rebuilds progressed, we've actually gotten younger, which is, we've had 4 players over 30 leave. So is it a thing of, and then you look at the likes of like Fisher, Mackay, and all these kids that came in 2016, 15, 17, now they're 3 years older. So like now it's kind of, we're just about hitting the prime. I don't think this year is the year where everything clicks, especially because of the new coach. Things like, we're going to have ups and downs. I think if people think that we're going to like finish top 4, win 15 games, you're dreaming, right? As much as we all want that, and as much as I think 2023, that's a real possibility. If we can get that finals hoodoo off our backs, and we can move from there, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. I mean, you've just got to get into the finals. You've got to step onto the stage. I mean, we're still we're just wanting, you know, more wins than losses at this point. But you look at a team like Essendon, critical injuries to critical players all year round. Really young side. They got the 3 youngsters that they drafted, and you know, all of a sudden they've got that finals experience. Yes, they lost, but you know, you can't compare to getting that experience in the finals. And I think you're right. Like, we've got to get these boys playing finals as soon as possible, so then they can taste what it really takes to go to that next level. Because there's still, I don't know where we are. Are we at like level 4, and we've still got to get to like level 6, 7 before we can even think about a granny?
Who knows, really? Because we don't know until we're there. So it's like we can make the granny next year, and then we will look back at this time thinking, oh, we're only a year away. So we don't actually know until we get there.
Yeah.
But I think you have to look at the games that we have played that have been under pressure. So I think I'll go back to the Essendon game this year. I wasn't there. I know you were there. Was that as close to like a finals atmosphere? It was like, from what I was watching at home, it was like Sunday twilight to like two of the biggest clubs in the AFL, high scoring game. The pressure was really on, and if we had lost that game, season's done pretty much there. So I feel I can take a little bit of solace of the fact that our backs were against the wall in that game. We had to fight from underneath, and we kept going, we kept going, we kept going, and we knocked them over in the last quarter. Similarly with the second Collingwood game, our backs were against the wall. We had to dig deep. We had to fight. 6 goals to nothing in the last quarter. Again, a pretty similar game in terms of the pressure around it, the atmosphere. Maybe not in the ground because it was behind closed doors, but the talk around the game, the repercussions of that game. I feel like we took steps in the right direction last year, which people have noticed. And I think once we start winning, people will look back at those games and think, yeah, there was signs there. There was signs there.
That Essendon game was probably, if I'm thinking now, like, what are the games I would watch again from 2021? That Essendon game is top of the list. I'd probably watch the Fremantle game again. Maybe both. The St Kilda one, kind of, but it came after. I think it came after a bad loss, so there was a bit of a stinger in it. But maybe more so from the point of what the group can do when they do lock in. They were pretty solid that day.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the naivety. Our best is electrifying. Our worst is terrible. And you look at experienced sides, that's like they have a base level. Young sides, they have ups, they have downs. So I think that's just going to come. Like, we got frustrated then, fair enough, because we're Carlton. We need to win. Like, it's our expectation as a club to win every game.
Yeah.
Whether or not our team's good enough, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. It's and I like to give them all a clean slate. Everything that happens. We move on. It's a fresh group. It really is a fresh group. And this time, I know that there's been a bit of a chat about same shit, different year, same words, all of that. Yeah, it does sound a little different, does feel a little different. But I think because this time around the change has been real change. The whole coaching panel has changed. Even the board. The board have never had this much turnover in a single season since I don't even remember, to be honest. I think four of the board members from 2020, start of 2021, will not be there at the start of 2022. So hopefully this is the circuit breaker that was actually needed all along.
I think it is. I think I got this feeling. I think when the head, like everyone started shaving their heads, I said to my brother, I was like, there's just something. There's something in this moment, like this symbolic moment, which is, and again, I don't think we as a fan base will realize it until we've won something. And I think that's with everything. Like, it's very rare that a circuit breaker happens and there's like a unanimous consensus. Yeah, we're going to win now, pretty much. It's once you've won, you look back and think, oh yeah, that was it.
Spot on. Who's your player or players that you got your eye on that you think will take the leap?
I've got a one slightly controversial one and one that's a little bit more streamlined.
Okay.
We'll go with the latter first. I think Matt Owies will have a breakout year. I think it's that small forward contingent, him, Honey, and Durden. I think Owies is probably the one that's a little bit more certain at this stage. Like, we know what we're going to get from him. Honey and Durden are a little bit raw. They played only a couple of games, so we're still waiting to see what they can produce. But I think we know what we're going to get with Honey. We know he's got an eye for a goal, can put defensive pressure on, and I think without Betts, he can really take that mantle and really kick on this year. The controversial one, I think Mitch McGovern will be in the All-Australian 40-man squad as a backman.
Love it.
I think it's his time.
Love it.
I think it's his time.
There's something about the move. I mean, look, if Liam Jones can turn it around, Mitch McGovern can absolutely turn it around. I don't think Mitch McGovern is as in deep of a hole as what Liam Jones was before he made the
Yeah.
move. And maybe there's something to be said for putting him behind the ball because the play will come to him as opposed to being a forward where he sort of had to create.
Yeah.
It was really weird because Teague used to always talk about, no, he's playing a role, he's like a decoy or whatever it was. I'm with you. I think he can do something. I think he's got all the traits, and I know that he's heavily criticized, but if you speak to him, if you hear him speak, he's very much club first, team first, team player, willing to do whatever it takes. Just hasn't been able to get it right for whatever reason, body, head, whatever the case may be. So, but all Australian, mate. If he's all Australian next year,
he'll be all Australian. I think just quickly, he looked lost in the forward line. And I think something as simple as in defense, you have an opponent, you have an area of the ground you need to cover. Something as simple as that where it's structured, there's a system, when it's not really a lot of kind of not do as you please, but like a little bit laissez-faire in how he plays. If it's very structured, this is your man, stop him from kicking goals, I feel like that's when he'll thrive.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah, he's got a beautiful kick on him as well. Beautiful hands. He is actually quick as well. So
that's hopefully. I don't have egg on my face in 12 months' time, but we'll see.
Welcome to the big smoke, mate.
I couldn't handle it. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Could be worse. You could be a Carlton supporter for 10 years watching nothing.
Yeah, could be. I wonder what that feels like.
Yeah. Anyway, bro, thanks very much for everything you do, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
See you, bro. All right. Costa.
Terry, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm good. Up and about today. Tell you what.
Yeah. It's a nice energy around the video today. It's been really good.
Yeah. I think over the last 3 to 4 weeks, it's kind of been like you got to think about what you want to talk about tonight and what can we come up with. Whereas today, it's just flowing. Like it's just easy.
Oh, yeah. And congratulations on the Thursday video as well. That's going to be incredible, really.
Huge. It's huge for us.
So big. When was the last time we had any connection like that with the club? Like pretty much when Eddie came on last year, I reckon, and he started talking. That was the first real insight we had into how he felt about the club and everything going on. And now we're going to hear from pretty much the top dog what's going on inside and how the changes have affected everything. So it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. I was so excited when I saw that video.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, we are moving, the industry is moving, media is changing, it's evolving. And the concept of coming on one of these shows or whatever the case may be, like there's a difference between, Carlton media, as in club media, and then fan media. It's a totally different thing, different concept. You can
100%.
sort of come onto that ground level a little bit and just remove that barrier of, corporate, they've got to say what they've got to say. And there's something, the willingness to be, vulnerable. It's not really vulnerable because we're not crazy. We're not going to, we want what's best for the club. We want to, we want to feel connected. And I think over the last 2 years with COVID and all of that, it's just been crucial to do such things because you can just reach so many people, drop of the hat, and it's done.
Yeah, 100%. Like fans and the club itself are kind of seen as distinct entities when it comes to all this stuff. Like we get very small insights into what actually happens inside the club. So when you have, like, I remember that Eddie Live, that was my favorite video you've ever done by far, because you hear them talk about things like, I feel like this group is as talented as the Adelaide group in 2017. You don't hear stuff like that when they're just talking to the media because they're so trained and they have to say the right things. So when you get proper fan engagement and we can ask them what we want to know. I mean, we've said it a million times. We don't care about the money that the club makes or the new facilities. We want to know about the internal operations that happen and the processes they're taking to become a better football club. And even the Brian Cook video, the fan questions, that was amazing to listen to as well. Everything that's happened over the last 2-3 months has been so drastically different to everything we've had in the past. So it's really exciting times, especially as a supporter, I reckon, at the moment.
100%. I mean, look, having said all of that, I think it's two-pronged. Like there's, all right, the press, the club, they're willing to step into this world. And I think the responsibility is on us too, because
100%.
there is a bit of a wall. There is a bit of a wall between, fan and club at times. And there has to be. They've got a job to do. They're on, they're custodians of the club. They've got to do what they've got to do. And also, you're dealing with a lot of people, and unfortunately, not everyone does it well. Not everyone does it right. You get people that talk shit, trolls, racists, all of that stuff, and it's unfortunate that a minority ruin it for the rest of us. So I'm hoping that Thursday is the start of a new wave of fan engagement, and that responsibility falls on us too, to do the right things, not say the right things, but say things with thought behind them. I mean, we're all very emotional. We've got to try and figure out a way of having that happy medium between, criticizing performance and then getting personal. That's really the challenge, I think.
Of course, 100%. I agree with you. I mean, we are emotional as supporters. I mean, we're such a tortured fan base, really. And most of us, we get so angry. But I agree completely. There's a line that you can't cross. At the end of the day, it is sport. We can't forget that. It isn't. Yep. I mean, it is their main jobs, but it's not our main jobs. So it's not life or death whether these people win on the weekend. So it's important to stay respectful. It's important to ask questions and demand things from the club. But it's also, like you said, important to not have those racists and the trolls and they're being shunned now 100%. Like, you wouldn't put up with it on your channel. Other people wouldn't put up with it in the media. So it's important to stay respectful and make sure that we realize that it is a sport at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world. But it is also very important to us, and it's important that they know that. Yeah,
100%. I think that's what video does. I mean, we're identifiable. Like, there's no VL Turbo talking right now. It's just it's like a human being talking with the camera. So I think it helps, but I think it's a work in progress. What happens in your world, mate? What's going on? What happens in your world away from here?
Yeah, so I graduated uni last Wednesday. I graduated with a commerce degree, majoring in accounting and economics, and starting up a new job next year in financial advising, which will be pretty exciting. And yeah, everything else is kind of crazy at the moment. Uni was so stressful with COVID and all of that, but yeah, I'm excited to move into next year and the next chapter of my life. So yeah.
Wow, full-time work. That's a whole change up. Yeah, I'll never forget the first few weeks. I was so tired, man. I was so tired. Like, the body's not like, you're a uni student. I had like 12 hour like weeks of contact at uni, and that's ridiculous. So I remember, I actually would never forget my first few weeks. I was just buggered.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same. You have no structure in uni. That's something that I've realized, because I watch all lectures. I don't go live or tutorials or anything like that. So I can wake up anytime I want and cruise through the day. But I think work will be a big wake up call. But yeah, it'll be nice to have that structure and just starting my career and my journey and all that. So yeah. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And so about the group, about the boys up and about, who are you watching? Who got your eye on? Who's going to make the leap?
Yeah, so I'm looking at a lot of the young boys. I reckon Liam Stocker, that's my boy. Like, I think he's got so much to prove. And here's like a question I'll put back to you. What do you want from the coaching panel next year when it comes to experimenting? Do you want to see us take chances on players, let's say chucking Stocker in the midfield or playing Corey Durden throughout games, throughout the entire season, no matter what? Or do you prefer us to have like that cutthroat approach where if players aren't performing, let's say in 2-3 games, to cut them? Or would you rather give an experiment a chance and give them a prolonged, I guess, period to prove themselves? Where do you stand in that line between dropping players who aren't performing and giving them a chance to progress?
I feel like we've got to be able to see the first few rounds of selection to see what they're valuing, and then how much they're going to be willing to put up with. I mean, there are going to be players that are out of form for whatever reason, but there has to be like a bare minimum, like a minimum standard. They might not do their job on the day completely, but they had, 7 tackles or whatever the case may be. Things like that, like guys that don't get much of the ball but lay a lot of tackles. So I'm pretty keen to see it a bit more cutthroat than what it was. Probably more so for senior players than the juniors. It just depends on how they're playing. But having said that, I mean, there aren't too many senior players. I think one of the criticisms of this year was, Murph got a few games towards the end of the year. We kind of knew they were just getting him to 300. And I think even Mitch throughout the last few seasons, they've been, he's playing a role for the side. Well, if he's playing a role for the side, can a younger player do those kind of things? So kind of looking to see I think it's just consistency in the selection. Like ultimately, I got no idea. None of us do,
Yeah.
but we only like sort of watch what's happening and react to it. So I want to see whatever their mentality is with selection round 1, 2, and 3 to be consistent. Rounds 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that the boys need to have a synergy together because I feel like too many blokes have been chucked around the park way too much. I mean, we saw it with Patrick Seaton, that left him completely disenfranchised and he had to leave. Like, I don't want that to happen to other players. I mean, we saw it with Zach Williams that he got to go in the midfield for 3-4 rounds and he got dropped back. Like, I'm kind of the mindset that I'd prefer us to have, let's say, a steady group of players, Chero, Cripps, Walsh, they're going to have midfield time, but I'd like to see him experiment a bit throughout that because I remember David Cunningham had a go in the midfield against Essendon. I don't know if you remember that game, and he had like an odd 33 touches, but then we never saw him again in the midfield after that. So I think that there's a player in our group, let's say a Zach Fisher, a Paddy Dow, someone who can really take the game to the next level if they're given the chance to. So maybe not drop them after the first 4 or 5 games if they're playing poorly and give them a chance in that midfield. But at the same time, you've got to think like there's a long list of midfielders who are waiting for that chance. So where's the line between, okay, you're not performing, I'm just going to drop you, or you need experience to get better? So I think that'll be an interesting thing to look for. But yeah, I think Liam Stocker is my boy. I think he can make a big change to our list next year. Him, Brody Kemp, Corey Durden, Josh Honey, I think they're the future of our club. And if we can see those picks getting right, it's a huge bonus because we've got those mid-level players like the Harrys, the Charlies, they're all coming into their prime, the Wiederings. If those blokes can step up their game as well, we'll have a deep list that'll win us consistent games, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think ever since the Luke Power interview this year where he came on, and I think before that we're all screaming out like, why isn't Stocker in the midfield or Samo or whatnot? And then Luke Power really came on. He just put it straight up to us. He just sort of said, this is part of their development. Like they're learning this to do this. Stocker will eventually, hopefully go into the midfield. I guess the question is like, is that going to be now? Is that going to be this year? Is that going to be maybe 2023? I mean, you hear from Stocks and he just says, "Oh, I just want to play footy. I don't care where I play." Which it's funny because like you want that, you want that attitude. And then Stocks sort of seems to me like someone who's willing to do whatever it takes to actually prove himself, rather than say, "No, I'm a midfielder, play me there." And that's maybe where Samo, that's where it kind of went wrong, because in his mind he's like, "No, I am a midfielder," which he probably was. And he just wasn't willing to, fight for it, in 2022 and beyond.
100%. Even when you listen to Stocker's exit interviews that he's had with the club, he just says he was stoked to play every game. Like that was his main goal for the year. It wasn't to even play well. He was just saying, I want to play. I want to get experience within the group. And that's the hunger that you need to have to be an AFL footballer. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing or where you're playing, as long as you are playing and you're helping your team, that should be your only prerogative. Like playing to the best of your abilities, no matter what the coach asks of you, even if you disagree with it or not. I heard Brian Cook talk about it, just goal congruence throughout the entire organization. You need to have your goals aligning with everyone else on that park. Everyone needs to have the same goal. So there's selfish intentions of, I'm a midfielder, I want to be playing there, and then you start lacking form. That's not good enough. So I'm not upset to see Samo leave. I'm going to be honest. Like, if you're not going to buy in completely, then I don't think that you should be at the club, or you should be given an opportunity to play.
100%. And to be fair, got Chero now.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll be sweet. We'll be
100%.
sweet,
100%. I think he can be amazing for us if he can step up his game. And alongside Walsh and Cripps, it's so exciting. Like, I don't think I've ever been this. I mean, we say this every fucking year, Terry, but I don't think I've ever been this excited. Yeah, but I don't think I've ever been this excited as a Carlton supporter. Like, looking towards, like, we should make finals next year. That is it. Like, we have to. That's the only goal we need to hit. I don't care about all the rest. We need to make finals. That's it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
What they would do to a community of people that I don't even know if they realize the impact it'll have. Like, if they just do it next year, like how it will connect everyone, and what the experience will be like for everyone involved. But I guess every club has the same thing, and I don't know. We're now starting slowly but surely. Hate to say it, but we're starting to move into that real long premiership drought territory. Not as, bad as Melbourne's 57 years, but we're starting to get into the third decade,
Yeah. Oh, mate. So what other club could you know that won 2 games in 2019 and 2 years later broke their record membership? You know what I mean? Like, we are the sleeping giants of the AFL. We've said it forever. Like, we are loyal fans. We go to games even when we're getting spanked every round. We are the biggest supporter base in the league, in my opinion. Like, look at Richmond. They came out of the woodworks. We've been around even when our team's been bad. So imagine when we're good. It's going to be unreal. And it's going to happen. We have to manifest it. It's going to happen.
I love it. I
can already imagine your premiership video after the day. Just
I thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about it. Like, what would I do? I'm going to want to go out and enjoy the night. And the next day, I'm not going to be in a really... I mean, what do we do? Fan cam straight after? Like, do I have to sacrifice the night? I don't know. Like, thinking way too far ahead. But, yeah, what would happen?
Oh, I don't think anyone will be in a state to come on these fan cams. You can't have it re-uploaded. I reckon that's just the one and done for that one.
I think we'll let that one slide. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see when it comes to it, but it is going to happen.
Yeah. All right, bro. Thanks for coming on.
No, my pleasure, mate. Take it easy.
See you, bro. All right. What we got? Chris Beach.
Terry, how you going, mate?
Mate, I'm good. I feel like we're slowly but surely getting back to normal.
No, good. I'm glad to hear that. Much like everybody else, because we all want normality back. That's for damn sure.
I think part of what it means to be normal in Melbourne is the footy. That really is part of the culture here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What are you what are you feeling about pre-season, and what are your thoughts and question marks? What's on your mind about it all?
Well, first of all, I'm just glad that most of the players have already come back as it is. Now, whether that means they're first year or second year players, or they've been there a long time, say like an Enkerno, I'm just glad everybody's back. They're all running around at the moment, trying to get some fitness into themselves, and hopefully we can try and stay injury free. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking about it before. I'm sure you heard, but we need just some good luck. I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know how you get it, but just some good luck with the health. Just to start, let everyone have a full preseason. The reality is, if you look at the law of numbers and averages, it's likely you're going to have casualties along the way. It's just the way they train, the sports, physical, all of that. A little bit of luck. Let them get through a full preseason and let them get that base, because I'm trying to think. I can't think of anyone who's had like a close to or a career best year off a limited or no preseason. It really is the main precursor to having a good year.
Exactly right. Right. And I did hear you talk about this earlier, because I actually sent a message earlier in chat saying, "Hey, footy gods, if you're listening, can you leave our club alone at least for once and just let us have some sort of good luck? Because we've actually suffered enough as it is. Like, we've suffered for, I don't even know anymore. It's become that long that we've practically had nothing else to celebrate that much."
100%. It's my housemate calls it the curse. Like, we're cursed. Something happened generations ago, and we're paying the price for it now. I'm even getting paranoid that it's like because we earn revenue from gaming and pokie machines, and I'm getting paranoid that that's part of the bad. Like, I'm thinking, what is it? What kind of voodoo can we eliminate? What kind of magic spells can we put together?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So,
you might as well throw everything at it, mate, to try and just get rid of it.
yeah, I know. Hey, let's talk about the group. Who's your player that you got your eye firmly on to have a good year, strong year?
Good question. I know a few people have mentioned a few various players, and they're all great picks. But I'm gonna pick out Corey Durden. Now he came into the side a little bit late in the season, but I like the look of what I saw from him, and he just needs more time to develop in the ones. Like I said, I loved what I saw from him. He was quick around the ball, very easy to see him use the ball properly, and if he stays in the sides, well, then that's just an extra bonus for us. He's going to be one to keep an eye on for sure, I reckon.
Do you think he can play early in the year, or do you think you're not in too much of a rush to have him in the side yet?
No, I'm not in a rush with him, Terry. I just want him to get some game time under his belt, make sure that he's ready to go, and then when he's ready to go properly, bang, let him loose.
Yeah, love it. Love your work, Beachy. Good to chat to you, mate.
Likewise.
See ya. A full house tonight. Love it. Can't have Kool-Aid without the bomb.
Fluggers!
Can't be talking Kool-Aid without you, mate.
Mate, I'm the king of it.
What's going on?
Oh, not much. It's actually Mrs. Pom's birthday today, so I've been given a 10-minute hall pass.
Happy birthday. Is she watching? Happy birthday, Zoe.
I think she's outside enjoying a glass of wine because we just thrown the kids to bed.
Fair enough. I've asked everyone who they're, excited to see and who they got their eye on. Mate, Charlie Curnow has got less than 5% body fat on him, it looks like.
I've got to say, my wife has seen me a bit excitable today, but she doesn't know it's not because it's her birthday. It's because United have sacked Ollie, and because Charlie Curnow, he's within an inch of his life, isn't he, him at the moment? If he puts that picture up on Tinder, however many women there is in Victoria, that's how many likes he has.
It's all over.
I mean, that's a game changer, isn't it? I tell you what, he looked good, didn't he? And also, I've got to say, it was hard to tell, but Peternet was in that picture as well, and he looked like he'd bulked up as well. It took me about probably on the 8,000th look at that picture. I noticed Peternet was there. But, yeah, it was pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Charlie's a fascinating one because he always looks fit. He has that body type, man. As soon as you start seeing photos, the mind starts wondering like, wow, what could he do? If it's 30 goals, that'd be great. If it's 40, 45, we're talking finals. And if it's like 60, like Harry, like...
I've already told you, he's going to be the top goal kicker this year. He takes it back. There's no way he has been sat on his cute little bum watching Harry kick goals and not said, you know what, this is my time. This is my job. I'm the main event. And yeah. I think I've got a feeling that that's in him. He's a competitive beast. He won't like it. He's always been the great white hope. Harry's come, and I'd imagine you saw a little bits of it, that one-step 60-metre goal. That'll kill him inside because Charlie knows he can do things that Harry can't do. And he knows he's been the main event for so long and been out for so long. I reckon you're going to see a real happy, healthy competition between them two, which if you look at AFL, football in the UK, great strike partnerships, great forwards have that rivalry. That if you score 3, I've got to score 3 next week. That's what makes it. So I'm excited about that. But I did want to talk about something exciting. We've talked about the messaging from Luke Sayers. How's about listening to Voss? Like listening to him talk to the players. And one thing that stuck out of me is that there was that niche word, Kira touched on it, be comfortable, being uncomfortable. We've heard them type of niche words before at Carlton. I know Teague said something very similar a couple of years ago. But what was great was the directness of him saying that and then explaining it and saying it's not that we're going to go for 20K runs. It's not that we're going to be faster over 2 kilometres. It's about buying in and embracing the difference in program and the different in technique and committing to this new change. That excited me because it wasn't a word all of a sudden, a new niche word that we can lambast the fans' face. That was a belief system. That was, this is what we mean by that. And I think these players are going to get clear instruction. They're now being led by a man, not a pretend coach. This is a leader of men. And I'm excited about that. I think this is the year. Not getting the Kool-Aid out yet because I'm swimming in it, But I think this is the year. Just hearing Voss talk, I know shit coaches. I've had Ollie for 2 and a bit years. You made me have David Teague. Tell you, when you hear a coach speak and you know it's the right one, Steven Gerrard proved it this week going to Aston Villa and making them look like prime AC Milan. When you have a proper coach, it turns very quickly. And I got Gerrard vibes. I remember his first press conference with Rangers, hearing a man say, this is what we do and this is why we do it. That's what Voss did. I'm excited about this, man, because it's the first time these boys have probably been around any form of talent with an idea.
Yeah. The whole group, said it before, like the whole coaching panel, apart from Luke Power, it's all gone. Fresh ideas, fresh implementation. And yeah, you're right. When he explained, because Bolton also, funnily enough, said the same thing when he was appointed coach. The boys have got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But yeah, the way Voss explained that, I think the other word that he used was, he's like, I want you to be vulnerable. I want you to be vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Loved it.
Absolutely. That's where exactly right. If you need to ask a question, you need clarification, you need whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of ownership. Costa was on before and he kind of reminded me, like, we've lost Jones, on field, not sure where Doc's at. So all of a sudden that on-field responsibility and leadership is really at the helm of a lot of younger guys.
Oh, I'm with you. And I think they're going to... I had this wonderful conversation with Debbie today, and she was on about the leadership group and expanding it. And I said, I actually think we should make it smaller. Like, why do we need 8 pretend captains? Surely it should be 1 captain, 2 or 3 assistants, and then there is a captain in yourself that is in charge of your own performance. You captain yourself. You don't need the title. You do it. And there was little things I noticed today about Voss's video. I love the bit where you saw Willow running and he's like, lift your legs up, Willow. Come on, more. And then he's run round and it's the little ruffle of the head from Voss. And it's little things like that. I remember watching Bolton train the players. I remember him grilling one. I remember him grilling Dow. And I was watching it and thinking, there's no way Dow's learned anything from that because you've taught him a new arse. And he didn't really do anything wrong. He was just a bit loose. But seeing that, the telling you off, work harder, little bit of a respect though, a little bit of acknowledgement, you know what, you did it. That makes people run into battle for you. That makes people die for you. And I think Voss has got that wonderful, just already in these little bits of presses, we've had 3 or 4. You see he's got that arsehole, but he's also got that understanding that when you do the right thing, I'm going to do it. And I think these boys have got to have 3 years of apathy ironed out of them. I would say Voss has got a tough job that a lot of these boys have plodded, and plodding has got them respect. Now they're going to have to learn to earn that ruffle on the head. They're not going to get the love and hugs. They're going to get that love and hugs when they earn it. And I'm excited. And I love seeing Cripper there day one. That got me excited. The captain there with all the kids. That is a team. We're going places, mate. And I reckon Cripper's back to 2018 just quietly.
I hope so, man. Handballing out to people who are in better positions than him. That's really what I'll look for. I mean, we spoke with Bucky last week about the captaincy, and he asked me, like, what do you want to see from Cripps? I mean, ultimately, I don't know. Cripps will know. He knows a lot more than me. But like, whenever you get to a situation where you've been doing a little bit too much, you look at any athlete in any professional sport, they always find a way to just go back to what made them who they were, back to the basics. Cripps, for me, has got the best, maybe not the best, but one of the best sets of hands for this sport. The way he can create for his teammates with his handball game. And then the way he tackles, he's just so much bigger and more physical than most midfielders. I think if you can get those 2 things right, the rest will come. I don't really care too much for, can Cripps go for a run, take on 3, do a, behind the back and kick a goal from 55 when we're down 40. Don't really care for that. I care for him, being the best leader at the moment.
I think the most exciting thing to nail what you've said is that we got told today that Cripper and Kerno and Walsh are exclusively doing strength training, which alludes to me that they've totally shelved this Cripps to be more dynamic, Cripps to be Dustin Martin and actually said Cripps is going to be that ox. Because let's be honest, when God made Patrick Cripps, or whoever made him, they made him to get in there, get his big stiff head in the way of two other people and extract the ball. And that is probably what he was put on this earth to do. And if he can do that with the players around him, he'll be a superstar again very quickly, because people forget last year wasn't good. Let's be honest, by his standards, it wasn't good. But if that was any other player, you'd chomp at the bit for a player with them kind of contested numbers. So he looks around now, loves seeing that image of him and Chera run together, because Chera looks like a beast as well. Cripps must be in an element because he hasn't had a talent next to him since Judd. And now he's got 3 or 4 guys that are bona fide stars.
Plus, he's got like a defensive midfield dog in Hewitt, who's just hanging off him. It's good. It's good.
Cripps must be envious. You know, if he that would be the one thing I hope Voss drills down to him. Go back to 2018, Cripps, when we had some banter around you. Cam O'Shea, Aaron Mullet, like some absolute banter we concocted to you to play with. And look to your right now, look to your left now. Oh, you don't have to be 2018 Cripps, because we've got 2018 Cripps around you now. You just be Patrick. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that's what excites me. Go back to the Brisbane game. I watched that this afternoon with my pop, and we had a real good time, because if you watch that game, the whole midfield plays well and Cripps kind of takes the chocolates. That excited us, because we thought, well, now we've got Chera, Hewitt, and we've got Mr. Walsh. If these guys get it right on the day, Cripps will just be walking through midfields. We're back, baby. Don't know what everyone's worried about.
There's never been a thing to worry about. This has all just been part of the whole journey. We need the pain to enjoy the wins.
115 days until we beat Richmond, baby.
I love it.
I'm not counting.
I'm gonna let you go because I've got 3 others waiting patiently. But good chatting with you, mate. We'll see you on Thursday night.
See you soon.
What we got? Alex. You're gonna have to turn your microphone on.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, mate.
Yeah, how's it going, Terry?
It's going well. What's happening? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from the northern suburbs, so pure Carlton boy. I used to reside around Carlton, so in the heart of the Carlton Football Club. But yeah, relatively new on here, so it's my first time being on the Blue Abroad show.
Love it, mate. What's your take on preseason? What's happening?
Oh, look, I'm trying to not get absorbed too much into it, just because you know, we've always been kind of disappointed at the postseason, but you know, there's a different feeling. I don't know how to exactly describe it. It's almost like, since everything's changed with the board and with, you know, the coaching and everything like that, it's a lot more positive. There's a lot more positive feeling, and we haven't had, well, you know, it's only first day of preseason, but we haven't had any injuries like we've had with Doc and Kerno and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, look, really positive. Really positive.
Who have you got your eye on? Who you think's going to take the leap?
Oh, there's so many players I think will take the leap, but I think I'd like to see Zach Fisher take the leap. Now, I know there's a lot of criticism around him, especially with him not applying enough pressure off the ball and you know, really not kicking that many goals as a makeshift small forward. But I think if he just manages to just refine that craft a little bit better, I think he could genuinely kick around 30 goals a season, or maybe 25 goals a season if he could. But it's kind of difficult, because is he going to be shifted into the kind of like a midfield role, or be rotating between small forward and midfield? Because it's going to be a bit difficult, especially with, you know, Honey and Owies, who have just outperformed him already. I mean, if you just look at how they've played, it's very difficult to see how Zach Fisher will play that small forward role, especially if those guys are in form.
It's tough. I personally think he's a midfielder.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. He went to the forward line, did the team thing, did whatever was asked of him, which is great. But I think I'm just not sure if that's going to be his go in 22. But we'll see how it all plays out. That's the beauty as well. We don't know. It's going to be a bit of unpredictability about who plays where.
Yeah, we don't know. But I'm also looking forward to seeing Lewis Young play. I think he's got a big opportunity or big role to fill with Jones leaving. That was really unfortunate. I was pretty upset about that. But we'll have to wait and see how they play out.
Yeah, 100%. No, well said. Love it. Good to meet you, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Terry. I'll see you next time.
Mate. Chris.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was messaging someone. Sorry.
Look at you, mate. Right now, you are ready for round one as if it was tonight.
Mate,
I love your work.
I'm on the train, unfortunately. Fortunately, because I think this is going to be an awesome year. But yeah, it's getting pretty sickening at the moment, as you can see.
Mate, this is great. I love to see it. It's the 22nd of November, and you are ready to go.
I'm going to line up my tickets for round one tomorrow, I think. I got this. This is actually the new hoodie from the Carlton Football Club. If anyone wants to, it's a retro one. It's actually really nice. And I got the Carlton hoodie as well. This is really good. How have you been going, Chris?
Mate, I've been good. I've been pretty low-key over the last few weeks, just embracing the quiet period while it's here. And then, as soon as today happens and the photos come out and then, everything that's going on, it's, it just brings life to you. It's funny. The club for me is like a life source. I'll see something, I'll read something, any bit of new news that comes out. Because I'm ready to move on. I think we all are from 2021. So I'm like, the more we can move past it, the more exciting things can be again. So I'm excited. It's things are happening.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it too, mate. It's I don't think you want to tell, but I'm just happy. I'm just happy that I can feel like a Carlton supporter again. I feel like I haven't been really as into it as I have been in years prior, and part of that's been this channel. I actually just became a Legends Lounge member, so which would be very exciting. Me and my girlfriend, so that should be good. So yeah, I'm really excited for it, mate.
No, it's good to see, and you know what? Like there are a lot of people out there who are just pissed off, and fair enough. Like I don't begrudge anyone. Like fair enough.
I snapped after 2020. That was the first year I didn't buy a membership. I was that angry. Yeah, I was. It was just the same old Carlton. I just said I've had enough. Until there was major change, and we finally got it. And now I'm back on the board, and I'm ready to be disappointed yet again.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all spoken about what do we want to see to know that we've changed. I think one thing I haven't mentioned is I spoke to Pom about this. He mentioned it earlier today. He said, I want to see what happens when we lose. That's how we'll know when we've changed. How do we talk about it? How do press conferences go? How does team selection go? Because it's all good. We're up and about winning games. Everything looks good. But when things are not going our way, I think that's going to be the other key insight into, okay, what's really different.
Yeah, well, that's why we got a great appointment in Michael Voss. I mean, Brisbane didn't win the minor premiership in any of those 3 years that they won. And talk about that's like really great resilience to be able to put the not being on the top of the ladder and still be able to perform in those moments. I think that's why Michael Voss is so important, that the players can really look up to him and realize that not everything is going to go our way 100% of the time. There's going to be games where we have our backs against the wall. It's a real grind. It's ugly. You don't want to be there, but you grind out those victories. And that's why Michael Voss is such a good appointment for us, I think.
Love it. Which is the player that you're going to be keeping a close eye on for improvement this year, or just for a big year?
Paddy Dow. I really want him to have a big year. I've always had a little soft spot for him, and he's, it's going to be tough for him this year to break in there. Like really, Chera and Hewitt coming in, it's going to be really tough, and Cripps hopefully gets his body right. It's going to be tough for him, but I think if he adds something to our midfield that we don't have, which is pure speed. sprint speed, that breakaway. We don't really have that with anyone else. So if he could bring that more often than not, it's gonna. I reckon he could be a barometer for where we are next year. I think he plays that important of a role in the midfield because we don't have necessarily fast midfielders except for him. Like Chera's not exceptionally quick, Cripps, Walsh, but he adds that pace. And if he can average 15 to 20 disposals next year, I mean that makes our midfield so much more deadlier because of his ability to break from packs. And I think
I'd like to see him go even another level above, like get to like 22, 23, push 24. If he can get fit enough to do that, get to enough contests and impact them. Again, it all depends on the system that they're playing and who's in the mix in there. You're right; it does depend on where he's playing, but I think also with Chera there in that mix too. Like it's a young midfield. Chera and Dow, same draft, so I think there's a little bit of healthy competition playing with the guy that you were drafted right near.
Yeah, I think those two will work really well in tandem. Like pay Dow, break away and flick over to people like Chera, sorry, cut out there. People like Chera and people like Walsh that are on the outside, and he breaks that line between contested and uncontested in the midfield, and that is so crucial in a football team. Every great football team has that one player that can go in there and just break that contest, and he can be that player. And if he can do that, I think he'll be a big reason why Carlton are improved next year.
Love it. I love it. Everyone's had a different name to bring up, so I've enjoyed the conversation. It's good.
No worries, mate. It's good to hear from you, and hope it continues to go well for you.
Thank you, brother. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
See you, mate. All right. Lucky last. Mr. Mark.
How are you, Terry?
Mate, up and about. What do you reckon?
Always up and about. I mean, it's November, mate. First day of pre-season's already kicked off, and it even inspired me to do a quick 10K run today. So it's getting comfortable of the uncomfortable. But let's talk Carlton first, mate.
What's your feeling? What's your feeling? What are you looking for?
Just the change of culture all around. Which players are really going to take the next level, and who's going to really fight for their contracts, because this is something we've been waiting for a very long time. It's taking the ownership, providing more leadership. It doesn't have to always just be the captain always being on the front foot. Everyone has their own self-belief and motivation to be leaders in their own way, because instead of coaches coaching the players, you can have players itself coaching each other. It's what the great teams like the Hawthorns and the Richmonds have done in the last decade. So it's the building blocks from here, but we'll see how we go with that.
People have asked, and it's a good question. People have asked, like, what do you need to see for you to say to yourself, oh, they've actually changed? Like, what are you going to be looking for?
More accountability and ownership. It's okay if things are wrong. It's a matter of redefining it. Well, rectifying it, I should say, and taking that ownership, because we're all going to make mistakes. But if you admit it, address it, direct it, you'll see better improvement.
Yeah. Now, I've noticed a bit of a mustache growing there, and I've seen the sit-ups, the push-ups. You're doing a bit of a Movember campaign yourself. Talk to us about it.
Yes, and the crutches as well. So while age 30, bit of a numerology sense into it. So by age 30, I thought I'd do 30 push-ups, 30 sit-ups, 30 crutches / 90 reps. Add the 10K. That's 100 efforts in 30 days. We've just hit day 22 completed. The quickest run today at 50 minutes and 23 seconds. Yes, I was just shy of under 50. I thought I was actually going to pull a hammy or a calf muscle to the last, I'd say, 30 or 40 seconds. But nah, mate, I thought by representing the CFC and considering that I just found out it was their first day of pre-season, I thought I'd really, really push hard. But going to slowly pull it back a little bit, and then hopefully on the very last day of the month, we might go for one last big effort. And whilst we're quickly on that, obviously the goal still remains at $3,000 in order to have my head shaved bald, just like Sam Doherty. And in regards of Sam Doherty, I really hope that he's well. For a guy that's only 28, to battle with testicular cancer and 2 ACLs, I mean, I feel for the bloke for what he's really gone through. And I just find it that why not, as a long-time Carlton supporter, member, that I can embrace and empower that vision to have my own way of doing what I'm doing at the moment. And I would love, yourself of the Blue Abroad, that's given a platform to all of us and the social connection in the world that we're living in to be more closer, and almost Blues Brothers, the Jumper Punch, all you guys, every bit just counts, especially to obviously raise awareness for men's health, and to obviously, hopefully, reduce the numbers of men from men stopping from dying too young, I should say, quickly, and just always keep on pushing on. It's just a matter of effort every single time, on and off the field, in life. Always give effort 100%, no matter what.
Yeah, mate, that's very well said. That's a great way to wrap up the show. A great message. So keep it up, and hopefully even after November, keep up the work. I think it's if you can turn that into a lifestyle, I think that'll do wonders for anyone, really.
I feel like I've just wind back a decade, mate, like I'm 20 again. But as far as improvement for players, while everyone's been talking about this subject.
Yep. Who's your player?
Yep. I'll do that quickly. I'll go with 2 players. And they are Winnie the Pooh, Josh Honey, and Matt Owies, to own the forward pocket positions. And to wrap that up very quickly and briefly, they average, let's say, 3 to 4 tackles a game. Maybe average a goal and a half. 2 would be a bonus. It might be a big push, but you got to have that motto and belief. They do that, it will basically make Harry and Charlie's job a lot more easier, and it provides more flexibility and unpredictability that the forward line doesn't need to go with the 3-man tall sector that we tried. Hasn't worked out, but you do that, and it revitalised Mitch McGovern to possibly take centre-half back. I think will also rectify his career as well.
I'm excited to see it. I think so too. I think moving him back there and giving him a new role and something else to focus on is might be the circuit breaker for him. I mean, we're all hopeful. We're always hopeful. So we'll see how it plays out. But, mate, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to finish up for the night. It's been good chatting, and we'll speak soon.
Always, mate. Just quickly, who's your best improved? We're going to be your improved, sorry.
Setterfield.
Beautiful, mate. I'll see you when the season matters.
You know it. See you, mate.
Bye.
All right, guys, that'll do it. Day 1 of preseason, and we're all up and about. Fan cams are back. Thanks for joining. For everyone that joined tonight, that young brigade, I tell you what, we're in great hands with them. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. We're chatting with the Prez live here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It would be great if you could share it around, spread the word, and get as many of us involved in the show live. So that'll be good fun. Have a good one, and go the